Imagine that your paycheck just hit your bank account. For a few hours, you feel financially comfortable. Maybe you check your balance and see $3,500, $4,000, or even $5,000 sitting there. For a moment, you think, I am finally getting ahead. Then the bills start coming out. Rent or mortgage, the car payment, insurance, credit card payments, groceries, subscriptions, restaurants, and a few purchases you barely remember making. A week later, that impressive balance has disappeared. And you are looking at your bank account wondering one simple question. Where did all the money go? The uncomfortable truth is that the problem may not be that you do not earn enough. The problem may be that your money already has too many jobs before it even reaches your account. And in this video, we are going to break down exactly why this happens, why earning more often does not solve it, and how to build a financial system that allows your money to finally start working for you. For millions of people, payday creates a repeating psychological cycle. You get paid. You feel relief. You spend. The money disappears. You become anxious. Then you wait for the next paycheck. And when the next paycheck arrives, the cycle starts again. The dangerous part is that this can happen even when someone has a respectable income. A person can earn $50,000 a year and struggle. Someone else can earn $100,000 and still feel financially trapped. And someone earning considerably more can experience the exact same problem. The number on the paycheck changes, but the underlying behavior does not. This is why simply telling someone to make more money is incomplete financial advice. More income can certainly help, but if expenses automatically rise every time income rises, the additional money never becomes wealth. It simply becomes a larger lifestyle. And that brings us to the first major principle. Income is not wealth. Income is the money coming into your life. Wealth is what remains, what you own, and what continues producing value after you have been paid. Here is one of the biggest reasons people feel broke after payday. They think of their paycheck as money they have. But much of that money is already committed. Imagine someone receives $5,000 after taxes. That sounds like a lot of money. But perhaps $2,000 immediately goes toward housing. Another $600 goes toward transportation. $300 goes toward insurance and utilities. $500 goes toward debt payments. Another $700 goes toward food and everyday expenses. Suddenly, a large portion of that $5,000 has already disappeared. And that is before entertainment, travel, shopping, emergencies, or investing. The mistake is not necessarily spending money. The mistake is failing to understand the difference between available money and committed money. If almost every dollar entering your account already has somewhere to go, you do not actually have financial freedom. You have financial obligations. And there is a major difference between the two. Now we reach one of the most powerful forces keeping people financially stuck. Lifestyle inflation. Imagine someone earns $60,000 a year. They receive a promotion and now earn $75,000. They should be in a much better financial position. But then the lifestyle changes. The apartment becomes more expensive. The car becomes newer. Restaurants become more frequent. Travel becomes more expensive. Subscriptions increase. Shopping becomes easier to justify. And suddenly, the extra income has disappeared. Then another promotion arrives. The person earns $90,000. The same thing happens again. A better car. A bigger home. More expensive vacations. More convenience. More monthly commitments. The salary keeps increasing, but the financial margin does not. This is one of the reasons people can earn more money every year and still feel like they are running on a treadmill. They are moving forward financially, but their lifestyle is moving forward at the same speed. There is another reason this cycle is so difficult to escape. Your brain does not experience every purchase as a financial decision. Sometimes it experiences spending as an emotional reward. You had a stressful week, so you order dinner. You worked overtime, so you buy something expensive. You received a promotion, so you upgrade your car. You feel exhausted, so you pay for convenience. None of these individual decisions necessarily looks catastrophic. That is what makes them dangerous. The problem is the accumulation. A $15 subscription does not feel like a serious financial decision. A $40 restaurant bill does not feel like a serious financial decision. A $100 purchase does not feel like a serious financial decision. But dozens of small decisions can quietly become hundreds or even thousands of dollars every month. The wealthy mindset is not necessarily about refusing to spend money. It is about understanding what each dollar is supposed to accomplish. If you want to escape the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle, you need something most people overlook. You need financial margin. Financial margin is the space between what comes into your life and what goes out. If you earn $5,000 and spend $4,950, your margin is only $50. You may technically have a positive cash flow, but you are financially fragile. One unexpected repair can destroy that margin. One medical bill can create debt. One period of unemployment can create a crisis. Now imagine the same person earns $5,000 but structures their life around spending $4,200. They have $800 of margin. That margin can become an emergency fund. Then it can become investment capital. Then it can become ownership. This is where the financial game begins to change. Because money cannot build wealth if every dollar is consumed. You need money left over to deploy. Most people manage money backwards. They receive their paycheck. They pay their bills. They spend on everything else. And then they ask, what is left for saving? Usually, the answer is not much. A better approach is to decide what your financial priorities are before the money disappears. That does not mean ignoring your bills. It means giving your money a deliberate order. Your essential expenses come first. Your high-cost debt needs attention. Your emergency reserve needs to grow. Then, depending on your situation, money can be directed toward long-term investments and other wealth-building goals. The exact percentages will be different for every person. Someone with high-interest debt has a different priority from someone with no debt and 6 months of expenses saved. The important principle is this: do not let your financial future depend on whatever happens to be left at the end of the month. Make your future part of the plan from the beginning. One simple way to make this practical is to think about your money in 3 broad buckets. The first bucket is survival. This is the money required to maintain your basic life. Housing, food, utilities, transportation, insurance, essential obligations. The second bucket is security. This is where your emergency reserve and other financial protection live. The purpose is to prevent every unexpected expense from becoming new debt. The third bucket is growth. This is the money that can eventually work toward long-term goals through appropriate investments, business ownership, education, skills, or other productive assets. The percentages do not need to be identical for everyone. The point is to stop treating every dollar as if it has the same purpose. $1 for rent is different from $1 for entertainment. $1 for an emergency reserve is different from $1 for an impulse purchase. $1 invested for the future is different from $1 spent immediately. Once you understand that, your relationship with money begins to change. Here is something important. If you are currently living paycheck to paycheck, your first goal should not necessarily be becoming a millionaire. Your first goal is creating stability. Because it is difficult to build wealth when every financial surprise becomes an emergency. Start by understanding your monthly cash flow. Know exactly what comes in. Know exactly what goes out. Identify your largest recurring expenses. Separate necessary expenses from optional expenses. Then create your first financial buffer. The amount will depend on your circumstances. For some people, the first milestone may be a few $100s. For others, it may be 1 month of essential expenses. Eventually, the goal can become a larger emergency reserve. The point is to create breathing room. Because once you have breathing room, you can make better decisions. And better decisions compound. But cutting expenses has a limit. You cannot reduce your housing bill to 0. You cannot eliminate groceries. You cannot stop paying every essential expense. That is why wealth building eventually requires another lever. Income. But this time, the goal is not simply to earn more so that you can spend more. The goal is to increase the gap between income and expenses. If you increase your income by $1,000 per month and immediately increase your lifestyle by $1,000, you have not created wealth. You have created a more expensive life. But if you increase income and deliberately preserve part of that increase as financial margin, you have created something powerful. You have created deployable capital. That capital can eventually fund education, investments, business opportunities, or other productive assets. This is where earning more and becoming wealthier finally begin to connect. When someone receives an extra $500, $1,000, or $5,000, there are two very different questions they can ask. The first question is, what can I buy? The second is, what can this money do for me? That second question changes everything. Could it eliminate expensive debt? Could it strengthen an emergency reserve? Could it buy a skill that increases earning power? Could it contribute toward a diversified investment strategy? Could it help build a business? Could it purchase an asset that produces future value? The answer will depend on the person's circumstances. But the mindset is important. Wealth is not built by maximizing the amount of money you can spend today. It is built by gradually increasing the amount of money you can control, preserve, and deploy toward the future. So what should you actually do on your next payday? Do not start by asking what you can afford to buy. Start by asking 4 questions. How much money came in? How much is already committed? How much do I need for financial security? And how much can I deliberately direct toward my future? Then look at the last 30 days. Not the last 3 days. Not the last week. 30 days. Look for patterns. Where did the biggest amounts go? Which expenses repeat every month? Which purchases were intentional? Which purchases happened because you were tired, stressed, bored, or simply convenient? And most importantly, what expense is making the biggest difference to your financial position? Because cutting 5 tiny expenses while ignoring one enormous recurring expense may make you feel productive without actually changing your financial life. Focus on the big levers: housing, transportation, debt, lifestyle commitments, income, savings, investments. That is where the real progress happens. The goal is not to become obsessed with never spending money. Money is meant to be used. The goal is to make sure your spending does not consume your future. You should be able to enjoy your life. You should be able to travel. You should be able to buy things you value. But financial freedom requires a balance between enjoying today's money and protecting tomorrow's opportunities. The people who eventually build substantial wealth usually understand one simple principle: every dollar has an opportunity cost. When you spend $1 today, that dollar cannot also be saved, invested, used to reduce debt, or deployed toward another goal. That does not mean you should never spend. It means you should spend consciously. Because the real danger is not buying one expensive thing. The real danger is building an entire lifestyle that requires every future paycheck just to maintain it. If you are still broke after payday, do not automatically assume that you are lazy, irresponsible, or incapable of building wealth. Look at the system. Look at your cash flow. Look at your fixed expenses. Look at your debt. Look at your lifestyle. Look at your financial margin. And look at what happens to every extra dollar you earn. Because the goal is not simply to have a bigger paycheck. The goal is to reach the point where your paycheck is no longer the only thing keeping your financial life moving. First, create stability. Then create margin. Then build capital. Then learn how to deploy that capital responsibly. And over time, that is how you move from simply earning money to actually building wealth. If you're ready to put these ideas into action, download the Billionaire Wealth Blueprint. It walks you through the complete step-by-step system. The link is in the description and pinned comment. And if this video helped you understand why your money keeps disappearing after payday, subscribe to the Billionaire Index. Because the next step is not simply making more money. It is learning how to make the money you already have work differently.